Hey everyone, Pat Gallen here, and thank you for joining me on this brand new podcast slash videocast. This is what it's called, Philly Sports and Other Stuff. And what's really cool is that our CBS 3 art department turned me into a starting lineup figure. So what could be better than that? But I'm building this podcast slash videocast because a lot of what I do is kind of wasted in a sense. I do interviews with people and we can only use a small portion of that for television. I only get maybe 2 minutes each night to tell a story. And so a lot of that stuff just kind of gets thrown into the recycling bin. But here on CBSPhilly.com, I can throw this stuff up a little bit longer form. And for instance, today, our first Philly Sports and Other Stuff is with Eric Lindros. The Flyers great. He is now back with the organization. So it's really exciting that I got a chance to talk with him. But again, we only got about 2 minutes of that on television. So I spoke with him for about 15 minutes earlier this week. I'm excited to be able to bring you that entire thing, and I think that's what this is going to be all about. Philly Sports and Other Stuff will be hopefully chatting with athletes about what's going on, maybe celebrities, maybe interesting people here in the community in Philadelphia. And this gives me that avenue and that ability, and I'm really excited for it. So again, the first one is this one. It's with Eric Lindros. Flyers great. We talked about how things are going with he and his family up in Toronto. They're quarantining like basically everyone else at this time. Also, being back with the team as an ambassador is a big deal because if you remember, things did not end that well with Eric and the Flyers when he left town over 2 decades ago. It's been that long. So he's happy to be back. We're happy to have him back. And what's really cool and important is he is part of the All-In Challenge. And what he is offering along with the team is very, very exciting. You're going to want to watch this entire thing because the details of this are pretty crazy. It involves some ice time with him. It involves a suite, food, alcohol, all the good stuff. So here it is, my first Philly Sports and Other Stuff with Pat Gallen with the one and only Flyers legend, Eric Lindros. Eric Lindros, Flyers great, Hockey Hall of Famer. Thank you for joining me. Eric, welcome back to the organization. You're now an ambassador.
Yeah.
Now, why this?
Well, it started a long time ago, I guess, with Paul Holmgren and chatting through a few things, and Valerie Camilla has since taken over from Paul, and thought now would be a real good time to announce it, and then get in line with the All-In Challenge and go and see if we can raise a bunch of money for those that need the food.
You mentioned the All-In Challenge.
Mm-hmm.
The money for that will go back to the COVID-19 hunger relief. This thing that you're doing along with the Flyers seems like it's pretty incredible. Can you talk a little bit more about
it's
that?
great. I'm looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun. So, you've got the bidder that wins, and then they can take 11 of their friends, and basically we run the rink for a day. Grab a game, whatever that game day is. We'll go down for the pregame skates. There's locker room accessibility, so on and so forth. We get some ice time too, so we can take our skates and go out, shoot the puck around, have some fun. The whole day can be down there at the rink, and then come game time, we got the ceremonial puck drop. We've got a full suite with again yourself and 11 of your friends. I have a bunch of buddies that'll come in and make some guest appearances, and we'll have a great time. The whole thing's catered. You get jerseys, you get sticks, whatever. We basically have the run of the whole rink for the day. And the Flyers have just said, let's just go and do as much as we can with whatever's available, and a credit to them for for doing this. This is a huge package. So hopefully it raises a lot of money, and we can have a great time once things settle down and get back to playing some hockey and watching some hockey.
So it sounds like day of hockey, food, and beers. What could be better than that?
What seems to be. If the shoe fits.
Eric, you spent 8 years here in Philly. When you look back on that time, how do you remember it? What goes through your mind?
I stick to the positives. I stick to I got off a phone conversation, calling with Johnny Leclerc and Michael Renberg this morning. I stick to those moments. I stick to our playoff runs. I stick to to that. There's so much to be proud of, and some real good times. I think that over the course of those 8 years, I was really lucky to be around a number of the players that I was. We had a great group of veteran guys. Kevin Dineen comes to mind, Dave Brown, the Peter Svoboda. The list goes on and on. But certainly those 8 years were fantastic. And so yeah, happy to be back and help out in any way I can down there. And the big thing is when does hockey start, and let's make sure that when we watch it, we're all safe and get things rolling.
I want to get to that because this season was and turning out to be an awesome one for the Flyers.
Yeah.
Before we do that, I just wanted to ask you about, are there any specific moments that you think back to, like goals, games? Do you let yourself kind of go back into the past and relive those things?
In a way, but not that definitively. I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think more in terms of the time of year. That antsiness that you get come late August. That training camp's coming, and you want to make sure that you're ready to go. This time of year, where it's normally playoff time, there's a certain aura about this time of year, certain flow to it, certain vibe. And playing in Philadelphia, and you come out of that tunnel, and the place just goes berserk. Really, it's an experience that the guys that are playing now, and they get to experience. I mean, when they retire, they're going to say the same thing. It's that strong. There's nothing that describes it. That gives it its due. It's moments like that, but it's not a goal. It's not one thing or that thing. It's the whole combination. It's the whole package, but mostly it involves around playoff time.
Well, and I asked you specifically that question because there's obviously not live sports happening right now. So
yeah.
I, like a lot of other people, have been going back and watching these old games and these old series. And I was watching basically that whole Rangers Eastern Conference Finals series from '97. Sure. You scored a ton of big goals in that series. So do you ever let it go back to like, oh man, I remember exactly what I was doing at that time, or I remember this goal, I remember that move, that play?
A little bit. Just the one it kind of brought my mind back to it was Mike Richter sent me a text a little while ago, and we were supposed to chat. Mike is these goalies, they're all off in their own little bit. I got a backhand off against them, and it ended up being a pretty big goal. So that one came to mind. But really, it's when I think back to that Rangers series, I think more to guys like Carl Dykhouse and some of the big plays that he had during that time. And I mean, that's what the classics are for, and hopefully they're not too slow for the people that are currently enjoying today's game. I think there is some fun.
So I'm sure you were as invested as anyone else in this season that was going on, and specifically with the Flyers. They were playing such good hockey right before they postponed the season. Right. Did you think they had what it took to kind of go on a long run?
I thought they were going to surprise some people. They certainly, I mean, they're vying for the top. They're making their way up the standings. I thought they were, every year there's one or two teams that people never really thought would get to a certain point. I thought they were going to be one of them. Their depth was good. Not only were they getting, your reliable guys were doing what they're supposed to be doing, but the depth really was to a point where it was a pack effort, if you can use that terminology. I thought they had. It's too bad the season had to end. They were getting big plays from a lot of different guys, and certainly great goaltending.
Well, and if they were one of those one or two teams that kind of came out of nowhere this year, then that, I guess, would lead you to believe they could have a sustained run here for maybe a few years with some of the young talent they've got. For sure. Yeah, you'd like to think so. I think so. Especially, you get a group together. There's some familiarity with it. You never know what can happen. It's a tough situation now with the way the salaries are structured and the cap itself, and trying to be
trying to be putting together the right combination of people, not just on the ice, but personalities off the ice. It's not an easy feat for a general manager and an organization to be able to do something. It's one thing, you look there on the shelf and you think, well, this guy's always been a 30-goal scorer, so on and so forth. Sometimes you'd be able to take a 30 and it can turn into a 35 with the right combination, or you take that 30 and it can be a 20-goal scorer with the wrong one. So it's not just the piece that you buy. It's how that piece is put in, and that's the hard part with being an organization.
I know you pay attention quite a bit to what's going on around the league. You played in an era where there were like Hall-of-Famers on every roster, it seemed. I mean, your Lemieux, the Gretzkys, Sakic, like across the board. When you compare the era that you played in to the talent pool that is currently in the NHL, how do you think they level up?
It's apples and I don't know. I think there's a great deal of talent right now, and it's not just the talent; it's what these guys are able to do with the speed that they're doing it. The skating is so much different. It's so much better. The speed is fantastic. The rules were such that in the 90s, it was more being able to get your way through a situation, whether that be through speed or mass. Guys were bigger. It really was. I mean, the hooking and holding was such that you had to power your way through, and the stronger you were, the more capable you were of doing it. I think there's some similarities, and I think a lot of the guys that were in the 90s or that had to play through the hooking and holding, they would do just fine. And now I see some guys that play today, and there's no reason why they wouldn't be able to under those other circumstances, be able to bulk up a little bit and be able to play in that the same bit. I think humans can adapt. Humans can change, and look at what we're doing right now. I'm looking at some pictures of your kid. How old is your kid behind you?
Oh yeah, he just turned 3 months old.
Oh great.
Yeah,
that's great. Yeah. So we're all doing different things. We're all adapting in life, and just another step, right?
Hey, that's it. I'm guessing that you maybe wish you had played more in today's style than the 90s with all the clutching and grabbing and hooking.
A little bit. I think that we wasted a lot of energy with that.
Yeah.
I think that the contact, you wouldn't need to hit as much. Giving a hit isn't, it takes its toll on the giver just as much as it does the recipient. So, there might have been a lot more energy left over for some other things, but hey, listen, it was what it was. Had a great time doing it, and met a lot of really wonderful guys. Still friends with a great deal of them, and no complaints on my end.
So you're in Toronto now. You and the family staying safe. What are you guys doing right now?
Probably the same thing that most people are doing. Pretty much all of us. It's we wake up in the morning. My kids, I guess it starts with my Carl's 5 and our twins are 4. So, we do our school and we try and get some action and outdoor. They ride the bike around the block or whatever, or rollerblade or whatever depends on the weather. Try and get them outside a little bit and then settle down and do a little bit of school work. And they were doing some of that stuff online, and then they've stopped that now. The school board stopped it. So maybe that'll start up again on a different platform. But there was some. Anyway, trying to do some math and some reading, and you're basically learning a lot about your kid and how they learn and what makes them tick and how long they can sit still for. The two boys, it's completely different than a little Sophie. I can just give her a bunch of math questions in an abacus, and she'll just whiz through them, no problem. She sits still, and when she's done, she'll draw a pony. Right? The boys, oh no. So. There's different ways of going about it, and we're finding our way. We're trying to make the most of it, and I think a lot of people are. I think that's what we're getting from all this is it is what it is, and let's make the most of it.
Well, I've got a 3-month-old. What advice do you have for me?
I don't have advice other than the sleep. The one thing is building the furniture and the crib and all the stuff. I'm sure you've done the crib, but say for instance that the moving rooms or so on and so forth. I made the mistake of building in the hallway that had better light, and then thinking I was going to take in the furniture.
Couldn't get it through the door.
Couldn't get it through the door. So I had to build it twice. So any new father out there, don't do that one. Don't make my mistake, please. Don't make my mistake. Do it
I almost made that
where it
mistake
needs to be.
I almost made it.
Yeah.
Last one for you, Eric. What do you want to say to all the Flyers fans out there, especially with what's going on right now in the world, and then with this all-in challenge?
Yeah, it's scary right now. It's scary. And the Flyers are trying to help out wherever they can with Coke and Chicken Fill, and they have call-in support. They've teamed up with Abramson Senior Care, and it's called Line Mates. And so they're checking in on seniors. Even Coach Alain Mignon has been making calls and checking in on people, and they're just trying to help out in various ways. I guess GM is borrowing the sanitizer that would normally clean the equipment, and so they're sanitizing the masks that are going to get out soon. It's bit by bit, and then of course with the all-in challenge, hopefully we can raise a pile of money, have a great time doing it when it does occur, and we'll go from there. But I look forward to, and I think everyone does, to different days and days when we're able to sit beside each other and watch a game and be safe and enjoy it. So until then, I think we got to slow right down and be cautious and look after not just ourselves, but everyone else around us. And we'll get through this, and hopefully everyone will be as safe as possible doing so.